Greetings. Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. As always, we are looking for customers to come visit our bar. If you're passionate about something, you want to be on a podcast, well, let us know, because this bar is all about community. If you want to help us out, please consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you find the show and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Joel. I'm the owner of the SciFi Pubcast, so to speak. And today at the bar, we have a regular third show. I still said over that. Yes, not cast members, staff members. This is not a Disney. It may be a Mickey Mouse operations, but it's not owned by the Walt Disney Company. Any which way, we have our staff members here today, Keri Simpson and Derek Beebe. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Wait. So we still don't work for Disney? Crap.
I'm waiting for the buyout offer, and when I get that through legal, right? Okay, yes, I may actually sell this in the SciFi Pubcast to Disney. I'm waiting. Waiting.
Well, it's a good it's a good thing we have a lawyer on staff then.
Yeah, but I'm not practicing right now. I'm not practicing.
I know, but two lawyers technically for when Randall is here.
Yeah. We're both lawyers. Yeah, and we're both in academia right now. Okay. Yes, lots of fun. The voice here is, of course, Keri Simpson. We also have Derek Beebe. And Derek Beebe is waving something on camera. It looks like it's a puppet with red hair. What the hell?
This is my Noodle crochet doll.
All right.
With my book, The Secret Apprentice. I had my friend at work make this.
There we go. So if you listen
to wave it and be annoying at podcasts.
Great. Yes. Thankfully, many of our customers are listening to this rather than watching the video of our talking heads on the YouTube channel. Thank God for the small things in life, right?
Well, okay. So, I have gotten into the habit of not paying attention to the video feeds on podcasts, mostly because one of my former co-hosts, Mike, has a habit of doing strange things on camera, and not that sounds weird, but doing things to distract me while we were on video. So I just don't look at the screen.
Okay.
So if it looks like I'm not paying attention, it's because I'm listening and not looking at whatever Derek is doing.
Keri, you can be truthful to our customers that you don't actually exist. You're an artificial intelligence rendering of something, right?
Which totally explains how you let me do security. I am everywhere at all times.
Hey, listen, when our robot overlords take over and Skynet is a thing, I'm going to bow down and worship and retire to Florida, as long as they pay for it. So
hey. Yeah, I mean, that's basically my plan is by the time the robot overlords take over, I'll be retired, and they can. I mean, I already need a Rosie to clean my apartment. That would be nice.
Absolutely.
Is that a Jetsons reference?
Yes.
Hey,
that was for the kids.
My Roomba can only vacuum floors. I need something that will dust for me, because I have an aversion to dusting.
Great. Since we're talking to you, Keri, how's life in Southern California?
It's nice. It's nice and sunny. It's too hot yet, so I haven't started baking in my apartment, or at least not baking in the sense that the afternoon sun will cook me and make things very uncomfortable around here.
Yes.
But things are. The year isn't even half over yet, so that's coming.
Yeah, you have wildfires on the way, protests, social unrest. What else is there?
Yeah.
High taxes, smog, traffic.
Honestly, the taxes aren't quite as bad as it could be other places. So.
Yeah, there you go. On the flip side, well, you have cool things to do in Los Angeles and Southern California.
Yes.
And of course, we have Derek all the way from the hills of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
How you doing?
Pretty good. My first book came out a month ago now, and the second book actually just came out on Tuesday, so that is available for purchase now.
Oh, goody. We're at
Amazon.com exclusively. You can buy it as an ebook, you can buy it as a paperback, and you can read it for free if you subscribe to Kindle Unlimited.
Fantastic. I've purchased the first book. I'll be purchasing the second book, and I'll put it on my, my bookshelf on the to-do list. So yes, it's there, man. I promise you, I'll get to it eventually. Okay.
Well, you're a busy boy.
I know. I am busy, but of course this pub is busy as well. We're serving alcohol and cocktails. We have a kitchen apparently, which you were in charge of, Derek. So how's our kitchen doing?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Because we've been so busy, I've been trying to come up with more time economic ways of making the food. So I started making what I call tribble soup in the hopes it would be self-replicating. You know how kind of like you make a big pot of sauce and the pot is never emptied. You just keep putting in more ingredients. You never actually, it's like an endless thing of sauce that you're endlessly cooking. So I decided to
not actually how sauce is made, but okay, keep going.
So I decided to do that with tribbles, because you know how tribbles, self-replicate, and it turns out even when they're dead and chopped up, they keep doing that. So, as long as you keep putting in the marinara and the whatnot, you have this endlessly replenishing bowl of soup for people.
Sure.
Now see, Joel, given what we're discussing this week, it's amazing to me that Derek didn't find something that's been laying around the kitchen for 1,000 years.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that would have been a good idea. Yeah.
Don't worry, no one's gonna hold.
Not that I want even more nightmares about what's coming out of our kitchen, but lost opportunity there.
Well, the marinara sauce, the expiration date doesn't even exist anymore. So it could easily be 1,000 years old. There's really no way of knowing because our bar does exist outside of time and space.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone, and I don't think anyone's going to hold a grudge.
God.
That's a cat's meow right there. Any which way, my update, because I'm just going to move on before this whole tribble thing. Yeah. Interesting take on it. I hope it works. Yeah. Maybe they do so well that we can branch out and do catering. That could be an option too.
Well, if you put enough salt in it, you really can't taste what the meat tastes like anymore. So.
Yeah. People, people need to eat. Yeah, even tribbles apparently. Anyway, I've been busy. So it's the end of April. I'm working at a university and trying to do a PhD in law and writing ever so slowly my dissertation. I'm on my 4th round of revisions for my first opening chapter, which lays out my arguments for my dissertation. And yes, it's a slog, but I'm still having fun. Of course, part of my duties is being a teaching assistant. I have no choice in the matter. If I want to go, you choose the financial package. And in the law faculty at Western University, the duties aren't too bad. So it's a pretty easy gig. However, elsewhere at the university, the TAs and the teaching assistants, they don't have it as well as, say, the law graduate students do. So, so we went on strike. Yeah, imagine 2,000 graduate students, 2,000 out of about 6,000 on strike with picket lines organized by the local union, which is PSEC 610, which is part of the National Union of was Public Service Alliance of Canada, which deals with all the federal servants. So it's a massive, well-organized union, and the university played hardball, and it was a really nasty 2 weeks. Of course, last night and today, we're voting to either ratify the deal or not. I make no bones about it. I voted to ratify the deal. I've been on the picket line, man. And leaving aside the labor disputes, just 4 hours a day walking around in circles with a flag in your hand or a sign in your hand. Yeah, I'm getting old and tired. Yes, I think I need a vacation.
At least you're getting exercise.
There's that. Yeah. This exercise.
You're getting your steps in.
Yes.
While you protest for fair labor standards and
it's a strike, so I have no choice because I'm automatically a union member. So when the union goes on strike, you got to go on strike. That's just how it works. But thankfully, it looks like the deal is going to go through and the strike's done. Yay!
Yay!
Hey!
Yeah, and a few other things. So the last almost 2.5, 3 years now, I've been working as a bartender at the local graduate student bar called the Grad Club. And I used to work there 25 years ago when I was doing my master's. So there's a legacy there, and things have changed a lot over the last 25 years. I got elected to the new board of directors of the Society of Graduate Students, or SOGS. I can't make this up. That's the acronym, SOGS. Any which way, so in order to avoid any perception of conflict of interest, I'm stepping back from bartending right now. I can always go back once I resign from the board or if my term is completed, but I'm no longer actually going to be tending bar at a real bar. So I have to use the SciFi Pubcast a lot more.
I'm sure we'll help you with that.
Yes. The other thing is that I'll be going back, and eventually I'll be doing like weekly karaoke and the occasional trivia nights. And so I'm developing a persona because I've been doing like themed karaoke every month, and now it's going to be weekly. So I'm going to stay with the same persona. That's what they want me to do. So I'm definitely thinking tiki stuff. I'm trying to land on a name, okay? Something that people like who aren't into tiki can figure out, hey, there's something going on there. So the name, I'm going to call myself, and I have to use my first name because people know me by my first name, Joel, right? Tiki Joel Django. What do you think?
Django? Like
yeah.
Django Fett?
Yeah, like Django Fett. Because you think about it, okay? He lost his head. Tiki theme thinking. Plus he's a clone. I'm trying to be like a clone of all the tiki people out in the world, like Tiki Tony and Don the Beachcomber, and there's like hundreds of them on Instagram. So so we'll see. So I'm still being part of the whole graduate student experience at Western. Oh, and also I start my term on the University Board of Governors in July, and that's the big one that actually controls the university operations and expenditure. So this is a real political position because Western is a big research university with a medical school, with full science faculties and all that good stuff. So so this is why I'm exhausted, I'm sober, and I need a nap. But such is life. All right, but we're not here to talk about me or Derek's book or the smog of California. We're here to talk about Star Trek Discovery and the latest season, which is halfway over as we record. So there's 5 episodes out. Wikipedia tells me there's going to be a total of 10 episodes for the last season of Star Trek. And so we're going to talk about we're going to issue, the pub's going to issue a red alert to discuss it, as of course pubs do. So alert. And of course, alert, we'll be talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen the latest season of Star Trek Discovery, season 5, hit the pause button or not. It's up to you. It's a free country. Okay. Oh, wow. So where to begin? I think, Keri, you seem eager to say something. What's your first take so far? Hot take right now on season 5 of Star Trek Discovery.
Well, I didn't realize that that going back and revisiting the chase from TNG was going to be on my bingo card. But hey, I cool. We're getting back into some TNG archaeological stuff, which is awesome. We've got a bit of an Indiana Jones thing going on too, which is also cool. And it's been fun so far. I mean, I know we're only talking about the first 5 episodes, but episode 6 is also really, really cool.
Wait a second, is episode 6 out?
Or is it episode 5?
It's episode 5.
Crap.
Okay.
It's episode 5. I can't count. I can't count anymore. I count all the bloody time. I do math my brain is mathed out right now. Sorry. And I'm drinking Romulan ale. So yeah.
And Keri's 3 hours behind us on the East Coast. So yeah, good on you.
It's noon. So it's I'm well within my rights to have something alcoholic.
Absolutely. I'm recording at the local Western library, so I can't drink right now. But I might be moving elsewhere next show. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Derek, man, what's your first hot take on season 5 of Star Trek Discovery?
I've been really enjoying it so far. The show always looks gorgeous and like a multi-million-dollar movie. But yeah, I am also absolutely in love with the idea that this whole thing is a sequel to a Next Generation episode, The Chase, because that was one of the most interesting episodes of Next Generation because it sets up this huge, implication that, there was this ancient race that created all life in the galaxy, and that's why everybody looks like a forehead alien. So, like, not only was it the perfect explanation of the poor production values of the show, but it was also this huge, amazing mystery that was never touched on again in the show, in the TV shows. And it's even more interesting that they used the same actress, Salome Jens, to go on and play the female founder and leader of the Dominion in DS9. So that is also a huge implication that they also created the founders. And, I would really love if this season of Discovery, touches in on the founders in some more direct way. For example, in the 5th episode, I was confused because they're saying, we found 3 life signs on the ship, but they only find Maul and Locke. And then there was like that little vial of liquid. So my theory, which I don't think they covered this in within the episode, but my theory is that that's a founder or like a bit of founder goo. That's my hope.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it apparently read as a life sign. So I'm hoping that'll be a founder.
Well, I mean, we kind of saw a branching off of the changelings in the last season of Picard too. So that's a good connective tissue type thing. Yeah, that's an interesting theory, Derek.
Yeah. So I love the idea that this whole season is one big drawn out sequel to The Chase, which is one of my more favorite Next Generation episodes. I love that they're doing a direct pull like that. I think that Maul and Locke are interesting characters, and they're not the big bad, but they're an interesting wrinkle to the plot. And if we're going to end up having the Breen as the shooty pew pew bad guys at the end of the season, that would be very cool because I love the Breen from Deep Space Nine.
We didn't really actually get a whole lot of information on the Breen, at least not that I remember from DS9 and
they're
previous
intentionally mysterious.
Yeah.
Now the novels do go on to give a lot of information about the Breen. They become kind of one of the major villains in the post-Dominion War climate. In the novels, they established that the Breen are actually 5 different alien species. And they all have to wear the same suits and use the same language because that's their enforced equality. You never know with the Breen that you're talking to which species it's from, so that everyone is treated equally. That's the way their culture works.
Okay, question. Because if I'm remembering correctly, the Xindi had 5 different species. And we haven't heard from the Xindi since Enterprise.
Yeah.
Do you think the Breen could be somehow related to the Xindi?
I'm gonna say no. I think it's just a common concept.
Okay. Was there like a Xindi crew member on one of the recent shows? Maybe Discovery.
I think there was a mention that like some like random background alien was one of the Xindi, but like nothing was made out of it.
Yeah, it bugs me too.
Yeah. So yeah, Maul and Locke are really cool. The overall quest is really cool. I think Captain Raynor is an interesting addition to the crew. Again, it's a wrinkle to give us some more tension and drama to the whole situation. The one thing that
adding a Cylon to the crew is always fun.
The one thing that I don't like is that they got rid of Saru. I mean, I know he's still technically around, but he's not part of the ship or the mission anymore, and I don't like that.
Yeah, he's no longer part of the action. Action Saru.
He's not action Saru anymore.
He's like inaction Saru. No.
Well, I mean,
he's sidelined Saru.
Technically, Tilly's not part of the crew either. She's she's teaching at the academy, but because this is, big, sciencey, 1,000-year-old race to find, the origins of life in the universe, she's tagging along, which I find is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah,
she never should have left.
I do miss Saru. But he and Trina are just adorable, so that's fine.
Yeah, and life forms need a love.
Yes.
I think our existence is predicated on that. Even the brain needs love in their lives to fulfill their sense of being and meaning, to obtain meaning. And we have these 3 different love stories going on right now. So to me, season 5 is just wrapping up this interpersonal stuff. Oh, in many ways, right? Because we have Micah Burnham, and it's her on again, off again thing with Cleveland Brooker, right? Okay. We have, of course, Saru, we just mentioned, and Trina, and marriage. It's always a marriage thing, right? It's so soap opera-ish. And then we have the new one, right? Okay, which is Maul and
Maul and Locke.
Locke.
They're kind of like this. They're kind of like this Bonnie and Clyde type thing, which is awesome, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so Locke is. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, I hope they don't end up, being completely irredeemable, because I'm kind, because Maul's starting to grow on me, and Locke's just cool.
Yeah. So Maul is played by Eve Harlow, and Locke is played by Elias. Okay, someone please help me with that. Tufekis. Hey,
he was in The Expanse.
Yeah, he was in The Expanse. And I saw him at the Tiki Bar in Vegas last August when I was down for Star Trek Las Vegas. He was at the Doug Jones fundraiser, and I saw him standing there by himself, like on the door, right next to the private area. So it's like, and watching the stuff that was happening in terms of speeches, and so. And they said, "Oh, this guy's gonna be in Star Trek season 5. He's gonna be a big deal." Yeah, he's a big deal. Okay. So, the plot, I think, revolves around a love story, as well as the whole archaeological Raiders of the Lost Ark, puzzle piece, right? And there's a puzzle box, and they have to go collect things to figure out the bigger puzzles, right? Okay. So I think it's kind of, it's been done many, many times before, but it's, it works. And it's Star Trek, right?
I think someone mentioned that, this time the mystery box is actually a mystery box.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and it's the callback to Picard. We even see Jean-Luc Picard in the first episode when they were explaining, the progenitors, and then in the second episode, still the first episode, we saw a synthetic named Fred.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that was very
kind of cool. That was really cool, especially on the back, when Picard just wrapped up, a year ago, maybe 6 months ago. Yeah. And then it was like Fred the synthetic, and he's an old version of synthetic that's like 200 years old. It's like, hey, wait a second, yes.
No, he's more like 600 years old, which makes absolutely no sense that he wouldn't have more self-preservation for like knowing that people can be shitty and double dealing and stuff. Like, you didn't know your Maul and Locke were gonna shoot you, really?
Yeah.
You didn't have a backup. Didn't have a backup processor somewhere or something.
He might, and also, hundreds and hundreds of years, you'd think he would change his name, because the name Fred's kind of lame for a synthetic. What do you guys think?
It's his name.
It's Fred. It sounds like whatever. All right. If any Freds are listening to the show, please no, this is not personal. Just
I record with a Fred, okay.
So yeah. Maybe Frederick, that would work. See, that's more nobility to things.
Maybe.
But in this season so far, we have other story devices. We have the mirror universe. With the Enterprise. This is going to, I think, around episode 5 on there. Is it episode 4?
Episode 5.
Yeah. So what do you guys make of that?
Derek, go ahead.
I actually just watched that one last night, so it's fresh in my memory. It was very cool to have a mirror universe reference without doing all the dumb, it's the evil, murderous versions of the characters. So that was great. And the other thing that took me a hot second to realize is, oh, they're using the Strange New World sets to film this episode. So that was a really cool thing because it makes this show look big and different because you're filming on these big fancy sets that you've never seen before on this show. Mm-hmm. And I was actually a little confused about this whole backstory of the ISS Enterprise. I guess this was an original notion because it's certainly nothing from season 1 of Disco because we never saw the Enterprise in season 1.
It's the original series, I believe.
Right, but the whole thing about good people stole the Enterprise and hid away here, that's not from Mirror Mirror, the TOS episode. That's an original concept.
Okay, so I watched the episode on I did watch it on Thursday when it came out. So there's an implication. They mentioned that the new High Chancellor tried to make reforms and got assassinated. There's a theory that might have been Spock, because we don't actually hear about what happened to Mirror Spock.
In the novels, that's what happens. Spock becomes the Emperor, and he leads all these reforms, and the people rise up and kill him for it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes total sense. So maybe that's something Burnham found out about and just didn't bother mentioning because we don't need to be sad about Mirror Spock dying again. But they mentioned that there was a Kelpian who basically grabbed a whole bunch of people and stole the Enterprise, and it got that somehow made it to the Prime universe. And then got stuck in a nebula.
And we're supposed to assume that was Mirror Saru, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Because the events of TOS are 10 years after the events of Disco season 1 and 2.
At least 10 years.
Yeah.
I think there's a theory that Strange New Worlds, whenever it ends, is going to end with like the handoff from Pike to Kirk, but I could be wrong. No, and I did see some people wanting to know, well, why use the Enterprise? Like, why not? Like,
because you already have the sets built.
Well, I mean that could be the bridge of any ship, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's more of an emotional connection this way.
Yes, more of an emotional connection. I knew, based on the title, I suspected there was going to be a mirror universe connection in some fashion. I wasn't expecting it to be the ISS Enterprise, and I mean, it kind of goes back to what they did when they rebooted the Star Wars timeline. It's like, yeah, they have all these things. Yeah, the Legends timeline is a separate thing, but instead of creating a whole new bunch of things at whole cloth, they're like, oh, we'll pluck this here, we'll pluck this here, we'll pluck this here, and they do the same thing with the Enterprise. Like, we don't hear about what happened with the Enterprise in season 1 of Disco. I thought for a second it could have been like the Defiant, but we hear about that in Enterprise. So, like, why not use the Enterprise?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why invent an? I mean, yes, there are thousands of ships it could have been, but why use a different ship when you don't have an explanation for what happened to the Enterprise? And plus, it gives Michael the whole emotional connection, like sitting there at Spock's old station, and
Yeah, it was nice to have her mention Spock because they never ever mention him on the show.
They did in season 3 when they went back to Navarre.
Yeah, I mean immediately, but I mean like since then, it's just we just kind of moved on from the whole past lives thing.
Well, I mean, she has other shit to do.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I really like the character of Rayner, played by Colin Keith.
I
Renee.
do too. He's fun.
And before I go on, the actor's name, please. I think it's Callum Keith Rennie or Rennie.
Rennie, yeah.
Rennie, okay.
Callum Keith Rennie.
Yeah, I've been watching this guy for over 30 years at this point. Like I was watching him in the mid '90s. He was in season 2 and season 3 of Due South, which is the Paul Gross RCMP Mountie TV show that was on. And before that, he was in this mockumentary called Hardcore Logo about the punk scene in Canada. He was great in that. So and then he's been acting ever since, constantly. Like Battlestar Galactica, of course, the reimagined version of it. Or he's great. And then Rayner, I get his character. Okay, another strong personality, and I think the character's Rayner's interaction with Michael Burnham. I think that works well in this season. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I agree, and I've heard I've heard the jokes about he kind of looks like Daniel Craig, so they kind of are ripping on the whole this is the poor man's Bond. So
oh, that's funny.
Like sure, like and when he runs into Tig Notaro's character Reno in episode 4, she wants a martini, and the martini is the one apparently Daniel Craig's Bond made up on the fly in like Casino Royale or something. I'm very far behind on Bond movies, so.
Yeah, I think that was his first movie, Casino Royale, which is not the original Casino Royale, which was actually a made-for-TV movie back in the day. But that one that kickstarted the whole Daniel Craig as James Bond, the last 3 or 4 movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is nice to have some conflict among the cast again, because if you think back when the show first started, Michael was a prisoner. She was a convict. She was a insurrectionist. Everyone on the crew hated her. You had Captain Lorca, who was mysterious and sinister. There was a lot of conflict and tension among the crew, and at this point in the show, they've all come together from the past. They're all one big happy family. There's no conflict among them. They're all lovey-dovey with each other. So it's nice to throw a bomb into that and have everyone react to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to they're all dying in episode 10. Great way to end.
Don't say
no,
that.
They have to stay late for novels.
The USS Discovery blows up, right? It flies into the sun. I don't know.
Rayner will definitely die in the finale, though. I'm calling it right now. He'll do a noble sacrifice.
We do not need a repeat of Liam Shaw. Okay, we can let this one live. I'm probably jinxing it now.
Mm-hmm. I'll be okay as long as they don't kill off Kovac, played by David Cronenberg, the great film director from Canada, from Toronto. So,
yeah, he's an interesting character too.
I'm almost waiting for some kind of revelation that Kovac is either an android himself or like the next generation version of like the Doctor. It's like, how the hell else does he know about all this shit?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe he's a progenitor.
Ooh.
That's plot twist.
Or maybe he's a changeling.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That could be weird too. Yeah. He could be actually James Cameron in a different life and develop aliens. And then have Ridley Scott move in and have Prometheus and how the universe was seeded for intelligence. Oh, forget it. Star Trek did it first. Okay. Yeah, too soon. Oh, okay.
There's also been a lot of great DS9 references sprinkled in here and there as well. I didn't love the Trill episode, but I liked that they're reusing one of the DS9 episode concepts of implanting the mind of a host in a different character so that the actor can have a fun little day on set. So that was a nice little thing. And Rayner's species is one of those little DS9 species I don't even remember anymore. So that's cool. And I think there were a couple other ones I'm forgetting. But
is it the same species Morn? Was there like a shot? Maybe the first episode at the bar?
There have been a few. Yeah. There have been a few. What is Morn?
Lurian?
Yes, there have been a few Lurians. When Michael first gets to the 31st century, she encounters like a security force that's like half Lurian.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah. And of course, using the Breen is were the Breen introduced in TNG, or I think they were introduced in DS9. Maybe they were mentioned in, like, they first definitely appeared on screen in DS9. They may have been mentioned by name only in TNG, but
Maybe.
the Breen are essentially a DS9 concept, so it's cool to see them back. I unfortunately got spoiled on the fact that Locke was a Breen the night before. That's what I get for not watching it the night it came out. But I think it's cool that we're having a Breen character like this, and I really enjoyed their backstory. I wish we'd actually gotten more of it, because what we got was kind of like a rushed Cliff Notes version. But
I think we might
think,
get more of it, but I could be wrong.
yeah, but I think it's really cool that he's kind of like a Breen royalty, but he doesn't, toe the company line. He actually has independent thought and wants freedom, and he runs into this freewheeling courier and falls in love with her. I think that's a really interesting story, because when we were first introduced to Maul and Locke, I just assumed that he was the alien brute muscle and she was the conniving one, and she was going to betray him at a moment's notice. So I really like the fact that they are legitimately in love with each other.
Derek, you're so judgy, man. You expect the worst in people.
Yeah. Well, I study history, so.
Oh God.
Wait, which of us was expecting Raynor to die by the end of the season? Was that you, Joel, or was that?
That was Derek.
That was Derek. Yeah. So I'm like the optimist in this trio. God help us.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it's been an interesting story so far. I'm really excited to see how it all comes together. I really want to meet a living, breathing progenitor at the end of it. I'll be disappointed if that doesn't happen. And I would love to get some additional, connections to the founders and the Dominion and everything. That would be really cool. Oh, and the colony that Maul wants to run away to is in the Gamma Quadrant as well.
Yeah, I remember. I perked up on that. Like, ooh,
yeah,
ooh, Gamma Quadrant, Gamma Quadrant.
Oh, and that reminds me of another disappointment I had. In the fourth episode, they're skipping around in the time jumping, which was really cool. And I like the fact that it was a reference to the Star Trek Enterprise temporal wars, because, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Enterprise or the concept of the temporal Cold War, but it exists and you have to acknowledge it. And the fact that this show takes place after that should mean that there's all sorts of time travel shit lying around that gets used all the time. So,
except time travel is outlawed. That's why they can't. That's why
I know, but the technology still exists.
Yeah, but the reason the Discovery can't talk about where they came from, except with very few people, is because time travel is outlawed. And like I've seen conversations where they talk about, well, couldn't the crew of Discovery get transferred to other ships and stuff? Like, well, yeah, but think of all the stuff they can't talk about because they're from the 23rd century or the 22nd century, rather than so keep them together, because then at least they have some. Then at least they can talk about all this stuff that they saw before they went to the future.
Oh yeah, so like I was saying, so we're doing all these time jumps, and that was really cool that we got to visit different eras of the show. But my one massive complaint is when they go back to season 1, we don't see Captain Lorca. That was the perfect opportunity to bring that actor back. Was he unavailable or something?
Okay. I was slightly disappointed that we didn't see Lorca. However, in hindsight, especially knowing that was Mirror Lorca, that could have screwed up so much stuff if they had actually run into him. Like, do we really trust that Lorca could have not screwed up the entire thing?
I have a dumb question, but when they did go back into the past, did that visit actually stick in continuity, or was it just kind of like a parallel universe thing?
If I remember correctly, what they said was, as long as they got rid of the time bug, anything in the part of the loop that they were in didn't change.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So basically, all those jumps didn't count. Like they could have.
No. Those jumps counted.
Oh, okay.
Those jumps counted, but the one that they were in when they fixed the bug, that one didn't count.
Oh, okay. So all the looping ones took place in the in reality, but the final one did not.
Yes.
Okay, I forgot that part. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously the jump to the future is hopefully not going to actually happen. So we don't have to we possibly don't have to worry about Zora, being all on her own after the brain attack. But
that could have been another thing they could have done. They could have connected to that short trek that took place in a far-flung future.
I did hear people discussing that, and I think because the implication now is that that Calypso takes place in the bad future, that maybe that's not going to happen now.
They also could have had us crossover with the Strange New Worlds cast. We could have had Michael run into Spock on a time jump. That would have been cool.
That could have also been cool. What I would have thought was, this would have been a good opportunity for Michael to leave a backup message for Spock, just in case the whole, Red Angel thing didn't work. Because how is she gonna know if Spock got the message?
All I can say is that time will tell.
True.
Hey, this is where my brain works, right? Going back to the progenitors, right? Okay. You think someone lost a bet? That's why they're seeding the universe for intelligent life in humanoid fashion. What's the motive? I know there's some motive saying, going back to the episode, was it The Chase and Next Generations, that they want to be remembered, right? So there's this, this is this Nietzschean idea of meaning in as a part of like a time loop, right? Okay, that's it has to be, you have to be remembered, right? So is it that, or did they just lose a bet? They want to see what happened? Are they experimenting, or yeah. And then there's the method that, how did they actually see? Did there's codes in the DNA, or what?
Maybe that's something we'll find out when we actually see what the tech is.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, hopefully it's like really advanced. It's not like an Atari 2600 and they're just playing video games. Yeah.
There's a lot of off-color jokes I can make to that, but I'm going to take the high road because it's Star Trek.
Excellent. And then there's, of course, talking about tech, okay, so there's the USS Discovery, of course, is known for its Spore drive, the only one in the fleet. Then there's the Pathway drive. That's from season 4, isn't it? Like, what is that?
I don't remember.
I think
the Pathway drive, that's what they call the thing in Star Wars High Republic that the Nile used.
Yeah.
I did catch that. Like, we're bringing the Nile into this. Okay, sure. No, okay. I have, and I don't remember if they actually had like a working prototype of the Path Drive, by the end of season 4, because I remember there was some competition between doing a new Spore drive and doing this one. But it sounds kind of like the a slipstream drive, maybe like what they would use in say Andromeda.
Okay, yeah.
I could be wrong.
Interesting.
Or maybe it's some kind of trans warp thing, because I mean, who knows? Maybe because I'm sure the Borg aren't around anymore. Maybe they've figured out the trans warp drive now.
Mm-hmm. Well, since this is going to be the last season of Discovery, what do you guys think? Like, how does that make you guys feel?
I wish it had gone for longer.
Yeah.
Or was it time?
I think it depends on I think it depends on what stories I want to tell. I think that I've said this in a couple places, this Discovery ending on season 5 plus the most recent announcement that Lower Decks is ending with season 5 is like, oh, so season 5 is now the new season 7, but we're getting we're getting less than half the episodes that we would have gotten, back in the 90s for a season. That seems a bit not enough, but and since we still don't know when Prodigy season 2 is dropping, unless you're in France, not bitter at all.
But, yeah. But do you think these characters will show up elsewhere, like the Academy one, the Starfleet Academy series? They're about that's in post-production, pre-production, I should say.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on where Starfleet Academy is going to take place. Like, if it takes place in the 31st century, I could see them setting up Tilly to be like a recurring character.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Maybe some of the other disco people will pop in from time to time, but I don't know.
Yeah, Star Trek Discovery. What do you think its legacy will be for the show? No pun intended. When we look back at it.
Well, it was the show that brought Star Trek back to television.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
We went, what was it, like 15 years without a Star Trek TV show?
Yeah.
So thank God for Discovery bringing it back, and now we have all these different shows, even if they are getting canceled too soon. R.I.P. Lower Decks, my favorite thing ever. But yeah, it was. I wish it had gone longer, but it was a successful reignition of the franchise, and I'll always be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they hadn't gone into the future. I definitely prefer the first 2 seasons overall to the next 3. I mean, I always enjoyed the show, but I don't know, like, to me, going into the far-flung future kind of makes it feel disconnected from the franchise proper. They're just kind of, I don't know, like making up their own little reality here rather than staying in continuity.
You feel like you were burned?
Yeah. It was a great burn on me.
Oh.
Keri, you had something to say.
No, I really didn't. I thought I did, but I forgot what I was going to say. I'm gonna again, Romulan Ale. Good thing.
But I'll certainly be interested to continue reading their adventures in novel form.
Nice.
Yeah, and it sounds like I need to read more of the novels if that gets more into the Breen culture than what we're getting on Disco. Although I do appreciate that we are getting more Breen culture and more culture, like cultural references of species we didn't really get to interact with a lot, other than big thuggish kill everyone type encounters.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Oh, speaking of novels, I'm struggling to remember which one it is in the moment, but I know one of the William Shatner Star Trek novel trilogies was about the progenitors. I can't remember if they were like the villains or what. I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one. It might be this one. But yeah, one of them was an entire trilogy about the mystery of the progenitors. I think it might be this one. I'm not sure.
What's the name of the book?
I remember it being good.
Well, we for those of us who can't actually see the titles because your fingers were in the way, what's the name of the book?
Plus we're a podcast.
Well, like I said, I'm not
plus
sure.
Plus we're a podcast.
But this one is Captain's Peril, Captain's Blood, Captain's Glory. And I can't remember if this is that trilogy or if it was the other one or not. It might have been the other one. I don't know. But I remember it was a whole trilogy about the Mirror Kirk, who is Emperor Tiberius, and he was using the technology of the progenitors to take over the galaxy or something like that. Maybe that was a different trilogy. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. So Star Trek Discovery, we're almost towards the end of the entire show. It's going to be on for 5 seasons in total. Do you think it was successful in what it was trying to accomplish? Yeah, the return of Star Trek to television, of course. But in terms of its themes, I think of things like, when I think of Star Trek Discovery, I think of, was it Idic in infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Infant diversity,
the-
infant combinations.
yeah, yeah. Infinite, infinite
Infinite diversity and
diversity in
infinite
Hey,
combinations.
my Swedish planet. By the way, when I see the word brine, I want to say brine, which reminds me to the kitchen. Is that bad?
There's another one that Derek completely missed.
There you go. Anyway, it's right. But Star Trek Discovery.
Bride or breed.
Yeah, because I think Brian. even the Brian can fall in love with the Breen. I don't know, but the Breen, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But Edic, I think Discovery is very successful when it comes to this notion, right? This idea that diversity matters, and I think it's successful. Now, is it my favorite Star Trek show out there? No, it's not. But I think a lot of folks, maybe it is. So I think that's great.
They definitely took a lot of steps in showing diversity, having trans people, lesbian people, gay people. Our main character is a woman with a man's name, things like that.
Much to the and it succeeding in pissing off all the right people.
Oh yeah, and in the first season of the
in the first season, in every season.
Yeah.
Like,
of course, the main white guy in the first season, right? Lokoi, right? What's his name?
Lorca.
Lorca. Yeah. Turns out to be a bad guy. Go figure.
He's played by Jason Isaacs, so
with a British accent.
With a British accent, go figure he would turn out to be the bad guy.
I'm pretty sure he didn't have an accent in the show, though, right?
No, he was speaking more of American, right?
Yeah, he was.
So, yeah.
They have to bring him back before the end of the series, please.
With a British accent.
Yeah.
No.
Turns out the real world Lorca has a British accent.
All right. Any last thoughts before we close our doors?
Buy my book.
Yes, buy Derek's book.
Yeah. But Star Trek, you plug your book in later. Listen, my thing is that, remember, I was on the Star Trek cruise out of Florida, right? Okay, this year in February, and myself and my brother Sean, we made sushi with Sonicate Martin Green. So that's my connection to Discovery. All right, so that's my last takeaway. My last little bit bit to chew on. But Keri, any last thoughts?
No, I mean this season has been really, really fun so far. I hope I hope the season keeps going like this. I hope Discovery goes out with a bang. Although I hope that's not a literal bang, because I'd like to see the crew survive the season. But I'd like to see a lot of things. So
yeah. Good.
Yeah.
All right. First thing, go out and buy Derek's books. That's important.
Yes.
But in closing, this show is available on most podcast platforms and on YouTube. Subscribe today. For social media, we're on Instagram and X. Yeah, we're still on X, right? All right. If you wish to contact us directly, our email address is management@scifipubcast.space. Yes, I do get the emails. We love hearing from our customers. So social media, where can people find you on social media? Let's start with Keri. Keri.
If I am on social media, you can find me on that platform at Keri Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42.
Great. And what other podcasts are you on?
I am currently on Enter the Dojo, Cape Chronicles, and that reminds me, I have to record a new episode of DC Talk this weekend because I've been too busy to do so the last month and a half over on the Random Chatter Network.
Excellent. And Derek, where can people find you on social media?
My website is derekbb.com, and my Twitter is @DerekJBB.
And apparently you have some books published. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah.
We should do an episode on that.
Yeah, we should. We should do one every month. Because actually there is a book coming out every month.
Okay.
Last month was Secret Apprentice. This month is Lord of the East. And on May 21st will be the third book in the trilogy, The Seventh Stranger.
That's excellent. And if you want to hear Derek talk about his first book and his plans, his motives, and his dreams and his hopes, and his essence, and so to speak, listen to our last episode. We spent an hour talking about that. So again, Derek, good job on that one.
Thank you.
With me, Joel, you can find me on social media. So I'm Twitter/X. I'm at Joel_Welch. I'm also been using Instagram a lot more, and I've opened up to everyone just because, just the way things have gone. University students, believe it or not, Instagram, the very platform, at least in this part of the country in Canada, in Southern Ontario. Yeah, who knew? I'm just basically, this is really unique, at Joel Welch. So my first and last name. I'm very easy to find. Google me. I'm the bald guy with the beard. Okay. Anyway, it's closing time. Take care. Please make it home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Not the puppet again. Oh God.
See, this is why I don't pay attention to the video.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Duran. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.